Alright guys, Jason Momoa is starring in the Helldivers movie. This is that film that they announced, weirdly, from the same movie studio, Sony if I remember rightly, immediately after they announced that they were making a Starship Troopers movie. And it's like, don't these films, aren't they basically the same? Because Helldivers was a mock on Starship Troopers. But whatever. I think it's interesting. They basically got the same audience, I think. But Jason Momoa is starring in it. So, just an update. I've been covering this along the way. And just thought I would do an update, basically. So, Jason Momoa has signed on to lead Justin Lin's live-action Helldivers movie. Nothing is known about the plot for the video game adaptation. Sony Pictures has the film set to release November 10th, 2027 in theatres. So it has to get a move on. They announced it, I think it was last year. May even been the year before last. But they need to get a move on with it. Because it's not, I mean, it's next year, mate. So I'm sure that will start shooting soon. But it is interesting to me that they announced this and Starship Troopers, because they seem to just sit in the same bracket of film. So no, both Lin and Momoa have been involved in the Fast and Furious franchise. This marks their first direct collaboration. So unlike many straightforward sci-fi shooters, Helldivers is a satirical take on militaristic propaganda. Ergo, Starship Troopers. Basically. Blend of action, comedy appears to align with Momoa's action-heavy, if self-aware, screen persona. The franchise has often been compared to Starship Troopers, another sci-fi story that pairs explosive action with pointed satire, prompting some to question whether Helldivers needs a big screen adaptation at all, which is even more pertinent when you know that they're making a Starship Troopers movie as well. Does seem very strange, to be honest. So Helldivers will be based on the popular video game franchise from Arrowhead Game Studios. The first game was released in 2015, but the series exploded in popularity with 2024's Helldivers 2, which has now sold over 12 million units to date. It's bloody good going. So in the game, players control the Helldivers, an elite group of soldiers battling an alien invasion of the fictional Super Earth. I've never played it. I've heard very good things about it. I've heard it's very good fun. So Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions worked together on the 2022 Uncharted adaptation. Despite lukewarm fan reception, Uncharted earned $407 million globally, ranked among the top 10 highest grossing video game adaptations. Once considered box office poison, video games are now the thing. They are what people are adapting. And I do think whether that will change when the Warhammer series gets off the ground. I think it will change to RPG board games, actually. Hopefully. I've invested in some companies for that, so I hope that gets off the ground, because that means cha-ching for me, which would be brilliant. Anyway, less about my personal investments. Momoa and the video game trend. So Helldivers will be the third video game movie for Momoa, because he was, of course, in Minecraft. He's going to be in Street Fighter. And, of course, he was in Aquaman. He's going to be Lobo in Supergirl as well. It's actually quite a big career move for Momoa. I can't remember what other films he's led. Because he didn't lead Minecraft, did he? Interesting, actually. So reactions online have been mixed. Some Helldivers fans have expressed Momoa fatigue or challenged his ability to play a military man. Well, that's the thing with Momoa, because he always does this sort of, it's not tongue-in-cheek, but he always does a bit of a happy-go-lucky witticisms. I don't know whether he'd be good for a military dude, but maybe he could play the... He wouldn't do that, actually. I was going to say maybe he could play the comedic relief, but we don't typically do that as the main character. You normally have the comedy relief as a side character that the main character, the lead, bounces off of. So not sure actually. I think it's a worthwhile point to say is that he doesn't generally lead. He doesn't generally play serious roles, so I don't know whether he'd be able to do a military man. But anyway, whatever. It's interesting. So they also note that Helldivers lacks a traditional protagonist with a defined character arc, with gameplay centered on chaotic multiplayer action. Yeah, but you can still do it. I mean, I think genuinely they're probably just going to blueprint Starship Troopers, and it'll be Starship Troopers. Which, again, I still think if you're making a Starship Troopers movie at the same time, which they are, I think this is a bit of a dumb thing to do, actually. So, yeah, here's one of the posts anyway. So, star as who? There isn't a John Helldiver. Who would he even play? Just new, random character. Not to even mention this hippie-looking mother effer doesn't give me jarhead military man vibes ever. Not even in Dune did he pull it off. I mean, can't argue with it. So director Lin has admitted that he's not a gamer, while Lin's outsider perspective could allow for a more broadly appealing cinematic story. It may also make it harder to capture the nuances that fans love about the game's tone and mechanics. Still, his track record with character-driven action films could give him an edge, which is true. But it's that satirical stuff. I don't know. I'm not massively sold on this. And it is primarily, to me, it's primarily because you've got the bloody Starship Troopers movie happening, which just seems so bizarre. Again, from Sony. I'm 99% certain it's from Sony. They announced it pretty much the same time that they were doing this. Really weird stuff. And I just think they serve the same audiences. Why are you doing both? Does seem odd to me, anyway. But good for Momoa's. You know, good for his career, I guess. But yeah, I'm not massively sold on this. When this was announced, I was like, "Yep, cool, fine. Yeah, it makes sense. Massive Helldivers property, massive IP that Sony owns. So why would you not mine it? You know, it was good for Sony to do that. It makes perfect sense." But then when they announced Starship Troopers, I was like, "That's weird now." And now with Jason Momoa, meh. I'm lukewarm on it. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye now.